So you mentioned Immortan Joe, and I find it fascinating. Like suddenly he is the lesser of two evils in the film like this, and we kind of alluded to this in one of our past conversations about sort of like, that Immortan wasn't necessarily the evil that we knew in Fury Road at a certain time, and this is the nature of power and power corrupting.
Yeah.
And you talked about this with me about Furiosa herself, about what happens to her afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
Does she get corrupted or not? Yeah. So, I mean, that's a fun thing to play with in a film like this, to play with our expectations of who Immortan was. Because we're seeing him in kind of an interim period between, like, do you imagine, again, his backstory being even further on kind of the side of, like, of being a rational man, a good man, as opposed to the monster he became?
Well, his backstory is that, again, like most of them, people, he actually was there during the cascade of catastrophes that basically led to the apocalypse.
Right.
Whatever they are, whether they're, as they say, a nuclear skirmish, if there could ever be such a thing,
just a small skirmish,
or a water war, or an oil war, or catastrophic climate change, where everything all happens at once. He was there before, like the history man, and he says, for him, initially he was Colonel Joe Moore, and then he gets out into the wasteland. And he becomes this sort of a deified in some way, or at least uses some sort of religious belief to become what's him. But again, that I always struck by most stories throughout history about how if the hero is the agent of change, and it's often said that yesterday's hero becomes today's tyrant. They become so holdfast, as Joseph Campbell said. They hold on. They love what they've built so much that they become rigid and whatever. And so someone else has to rise to basically break down those sort of orthodoxies. I mean, that's a constant pattern in history.
There are some stories about my uncle's life, one particular uncle's life, that I find truly always funny and heartfelt and wonderful. I never get tired of hearing them. From hilarious to heartfelt, tear-jerking to plot-twisting, his retelling of the events of his life always brings me joy. And just in time for Father's Day, I found the perfect gift that captures all his stories for my family forever. It's called Storyworth. Storyworth helps you preserve precious memories and stories from your father or your grandfather's life for years to come. Here's how it works. This is so cool. Each week, Storyworth emails your loved one a thought-provoking question that you get to help pick. There are dozens upon dozens of cool questions. Their favorite teacher growing up, their favorite movie growing up, their TV show, all of these spawn these great answers, and Storyworth makes the writing process a breeze. All your loved one needs to do is respond to that email with a story. It can be long or short, it really doesn't matter. You'll be emailed a copy of your loved one's response as they're submitted over the course of the year. You'll get to enjoy their retelling of the stories you already know, or be surprised by stories you've never heard before. After that year of fun, Storyworth compiles your loved one's stories and photos into a beautiful keepsake hardcover book that you'll be able to share and revisit for generations to come. You could even keep a copy of the book for yourself. This, for me, is going to be a perennial. Every year, if not multiple times a year, I'm going to come back to this book and I'm going to share it with my family and the next generation. Families love Storyworth. That's why it has more than 25,000 5-star reviews on Trustpilot, with millions of stories preserved since they were founded over 10 years ago. Give all the fathers in your life a unique, heartfelt gift you'll all cherish for years. Storyworth. And right now, you can save $10 on your first purchase when you go to storyworth.com/happysad. That's storyworth.com/happysad to save $10 on your first purchase.